Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
Dora and the Lost City of Gold. So Dora the Lost City of Gold is essentially a live action style. It's kind of like it's the live action movie for Dora. It's somewhat of a live action remake, kind of. Not. It's about the character Dora. I don't know why I really saw this movie. I was actually gonna see Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, because that movie looked good. Unfortunately, I didn't see it because I was like, okay, I'm kind of busy this week. I'm already seeing Dora, and I'm seeing like The Farewell, Angry Birds, I'm seeing 4 movies the entirety of next week, and I might even be seeing Rocket Man soon. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing way too many movies. I can just cut Scary Stories, and I was really not excited to see this movie. But it's like the trailers weren't like horrible. I felt very mixed on the trailers. I didn't laugh at any jokes. It was like, it looks very inoffensive. Looks very standard throwaway kids movie. So now I've seen the movie. First thing I will say is Dora is a kind of important thing in my childhood. It's something I grew up with, but it's something that I don't have a lot of nostalgia for because I grew up with it when I was freaking like 2. So it's not like I remember anything. When they were like singing the Dora theme at the beginning, and I was like, I think I'm supposed to recognize this. I didn't recognize most things. So it's not like I had the nostalgia feeling while watching this. And yeah, I'll talk about the movie. The first thing I will say is I enjoyed the Dora. I actually thought that the acting was good there. I thought that she had a lot of personality. I thought she felt like she wanted to be in the role. Any bad line of dialogue, she delivered well. I liked her character a lot. I didn't like Diego, though. Is this kind of how I saw Diego in the movie? I kind of saw it as, let's look at what they are in the original cartoon. They're both explorers. And in this movie, it's like Dora's the explorer and Diego's like some really awkward high schooler. It's not interesting to watch him. He's boring. He's kind of a jerk sometimes. I didn't really like him. And you have your other high school characters who are fumbling around like, oh my god, that's terrifying. Wait, what? That's and it's not very funny. But as a whole, I thought a lot of this movie is more clever than you'd think a Dora movie would be. Like, there was some genuinely kind of funny comedy that's sprinkled throughout this movie. It's like I feel like there are some good writers on this film and some not good writers, but there were some funny jokes, some funny lines, and I enjoyed the first half, kind of. Like, once she goes into high school, I thought that would be the worst part of this movie. Turns out it's the best. There's actually funny lines, dialogue that I actually, no joke, I can quote the movie. Like, I'll quote some lines of dialogue. There are actually some good, genuinely well-written lines and some genuinely well-written things in that part of the movie. But unfortunately, there's also another half to this movie that kind of sucks. Alright, the first thing I'm going to say about the second half of this movie is that it is so standard and predictable. It is like, nobody cared. They didn't even try to, like, do anything new. There is not, I swear to God, in the second half of this movie, not a single line was original. Not a single line. I don't get it. Why the second half of this movie just was like a standard. Like, it reminded me a lot of Tomb Raider, just more for kids. And I kind of enjoyed parts of Tomb Raider, but this movie's worse than Tomb Raider, obviously. But that second half kind of was just bad. And no jokes were really all that funny in this movie. There were jokes that were like quotable at the beginning, but in the second half, okay, I never smiled once. I rubbed my eyes a lot because I got bored. There's also a twist in this movie that made no sense at all. Like the twist happens, and I thought, okay, interesting direction, and then I was like, wait, what? Wait a minute, what? And then another thing that happens in this movie is that Swiper's in the movie, okay? No backpack and map are not in the movie, but Boo and Swiper are in it, okay? And Swiper talks in the movie. Now, let me just address this fact that they never brought up the fact that animals can talk in this universe. Because that's not a plot point of the film. For some reason, Swiper can talk and he has a bandage, and nobody else can. He does not fit in this movie, because it's just supposed to be there like, look, nostalgia, you all like Swiper, except for it doesn't make any sense, because guess what? There's a talking backpack and a map in the original cartoon, so it makes sense that Swiper can exist, but there's no talking backpack and no talking map in this movie, so why on earth can Swiper talk? It didn't make any sense. They shouldn't have had Swiper in this movie. Like I'm fine with it, But if they're gonna have him, then make backpack talk and map talk. But they don't. Also, another thing I hated in this movie was the magic. Like, there's magic in this movie. Okay? First off, they never established the magic. It just kind of happens. And there are just random things that don't make any sense. That, okay, I can accept them in a film if the film justified the magic, but this film takes place in our real world. This is all mostly realistic. Not necessarily from, like, logic and jumping, but, like, let's look at the world. It's mostly realistic. Besides a couple things, it is mostly realistic. So why is there magic in this universe? Why is nobody freaking out about this magic? Why is Dora like, yeah, this always happens. We got magic, there's girls she can turn to. It makes sense. There'd be magic in this. It all makes sense. No, it doesn't. You can't just throw it, like, the Dark Crystal has magic in it that doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense in the world's universe because it's not in our universe. But this film justifies that it is in our universe. So why is there magic and why is there a talking fox? I don't know. It's never justified in the film. And there's also a really, really forced hallucination scene. Now, this hallucination scene, I can't pronounce that, was actually the most enjoyable scene in the entire movie because I just enjoyed the style of what was going on in the scene. I won't spoil it in case you guys are at all excited for this movie. But I enjoyed the scene, but it didn't need to be in the movie. It didn't move the plot anywhere. And there's the most predictable character development. There also had the worst audience all year. This audience laughed at every horrible joke, and they literally cheered at the simple-handed, most predictable thing in this entire movie. Like, this incredibly basic and predictable film. They cheered at something in the movie. Guys, in the end, Dora and the Lost City of Gold, it wasn't terrible. It had things I liked, but most of the, like the first half of this film had things I liked. I really liked the fish out of water stuff, and I actually thought it worked for the most part. But then there's another half to this film that is boring, predictable, lazy, stupid, very cringy, and there's not a lot of visual appeal to it. And you know what this entire movie is gonna be. Once you see, okay, these are the characters we have. I literally know the direction they're going to go in from this point to this point. I know what this character's going to do and this character's doing. I'm going to know their arcs. No, not a single original arc in this entire movie. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as you'd think a Dora movie would be. Like, it's not terrible. It's just not very good. I'm going to give Dora and the Lost City of Gold a 5 out of 10. You know, for a live-action summer blockbuster in the year 2019, this wasn't all that bad. Like, Lion King steals the cake over the worst movie. This movie, The Lion King's awful anyway, if you guys didn't know that. What do you guys think on Dora and the Lost City of Gold if you even saw it? Nobody's gonna see this movie. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Bye. I actually usually do a salute, so bye.